Ladies and gentlemen, as you heard, you can only see half of the presenter on the stage. My wiser, older, and more academic part, Professor László Zsolnai, cannot be here today. This is a joint project with my friend, and we are really sorry for that. But anyway, I hope to represent his views today. And first of all, I would love to say a big katinche, a big thank you to Dasho Karma Ura and Dr. Karma Punco, who was supposed to chair our session today, because they gave a great contribution to our workshop in 2012, Buddhist Values in Business, which actually took place in Belgium. So this is a kind of a humble attempt to return their favor, return their contribution. And I was preparing yesterday and I found, because I'm fascinated by similarities between Hungary and Bhutan, by accident I found out that in fact there is a similarity, because Professor Zsolnai is a professor at the university called Corvinus, University of Budapest. And in fact, the name Corvinus means of the raven. And this is a reference to our highly regarded king who lived at the same time when Terton, Pema Lingpa, and Drukpa Kunli here in Bhutan in the 15th century. And he was highly regarded not only because of his power and political military power, but also because he had a library which was famous all over Europe called the Raven Library, Bibliotheca Corviniana. So the Raven King in Hungary and the Raven Crown in Bhutan. I just a side comment before I go back to our subject today, which is the GNH of business. So here is what I'm going to talk about today, very briefly. A bit of our current system, then the lessons we learned from business ethics, CSR in the last couple of decades. I used to work for Levi's. I was a CSR person for Europe, Middle East, and Africa, so I kind of witnessed CSR kind of curve from the 90s until today. Then we argue that the GNH framework is indeed a great framework for enterprises, and we suggest some sort of a rating system in terms of performances of companies in Bhutan. And then we also think that there is a role Buddhist values can actually play in the operations of enterprises. So let me start with our current system. And as you are aware today that today's business very much employs a materialistic and an individualistic model of human being. Basically, we people are reduced to pleasure-seeking creatures who are only interested in material utility of our own. And the mainstream business model uses money-driven external motivation and measures success in generated cash flow and profit. So this is what we call the Homo economicus. And however, profit is only an indicator of the financial viability of an economic project and cannot be used for as a kind of an exclusive criterion for the success of economic activities. So basically, to judge the overall value of economic activities, we should use a number of non-financial value criteria in addition to profit. So in fact, this management model of today doesn't produce true and sustainable well-being for people. Actually, we argue that it undermines it in many ways. By advocating economic action on the basis of money-making, And by justifying success in terms of profits made, the model encourages irresponsible behavior of economic actors, contributes to ecological destruction, and disregards the interest of future generations. So the question is how we can overcome this system. And one answer has been CSR and business ethics in the last couple of decades. However, based on the experience we got in the last couple of decades, we believe that there are quite powerful mechanisms which make the ethical efforts of corporations rather ineffective or even sometimes counterproductive. Which means that on one hand, we got a danger of reduce ethics to a simple management tool. A simple management tool. This is kind of an instrumental use of ethics that may crowd out all moral feelings, commitments of us, managers, which in turn may result in even more opportunistic behavior in business. And on the other hand, there is what we call, or we can call, moral disengagement. Kind of a schizophrenic human being, who has two different personalities. One is the manager, one is the, let's say, father or mother or a man or a woman. So this moral disengagement actually enables people and organizations actually to commit unethical, damaging acts without experiencing the distress or the moral shame. By attribution of blame, basically, these organizations and their leaders view themselves as victims, faultless victims, innocent victims, driven to injurious conduct either by market forces or reckless competitors or simply by compelling circumstances. So facing the pressure of the stock exchange on one hand, fierce international competition, and the current corporate governance system, which have been mentioned already, we believe whatever sophisticated business ethics and CSR programs we have, there's a little chance for them to really be effective and beneficial in today's corporate world. So basically, the system has to be changed. So then we got the GNH framework to step in, and we believe that this is a great opportunity for the companies to integrate Buddhist-inspired, but at the same time universal values into their core business operation, but in a substantial and a genuine way. So we looked at the 4 pillars of GNH, and as you could see, environment, socioeconomic development, good governance, culture preservation. So we looked at that, and we believe that they may be used to develop a holistic, multidimensional scheme to measure the environmental, social, cultural, governance performance of businesses. So considering the 4 GNH pillars, we propose a GNH rating scheme in Bhutan, similar to the rating and star system of hotels, considering the hotel industry in Bhutan. So basically, this would look like that. So in a way, the 4 pillars, 4 stars. So if you are a GNH 1-star corporation or business, you just look at environmental conservation, and that's the only pillar you cover. Then if you got 2 stars, then you cover also the socioeconomic development, equitable way. Then 3 stars mean, yes, your good governance practice is ticked. And then 4 stars means basically you cover all the GNH pillars. So this is the kind of a simple way of ranking corporations according to their performances in the different pillars. And in our opinion, this rating scheme should be designed and managed through a stakeholder engagement process in order to avoid the perception of having the certification or the rating just coming top to bottom, and to involve all the players in the public and private sectors, as well as the wider community. So I think it was Dasho Karmaura who said once that GNH is rooted in Buddhism, but it's universal in many ways. And it's this root in Buddhism tells us that actually the values of the Buddhist thinking can be applied in business. So, like compassion, care, mindfulness, generosity can be applied and may help business people to go actually beyond the mentioned Western model of the materialistic, individualistic kind of mindset, and to serve a common good. So let me just highlight two rather small operations that we believe could be good examples of applying such values. One of them is from Belgium, and it has a rather funny name, Apropos. And here you can see the founder, Bart, who's a medical doctor and a Zen Buddhist practitioner, who actually operates in Africa and many countries in Asia. And basically, what they do, they involve rats in their detection technology for humanitarian purposes. So, the medical doctor discovered that properly trained and well-treated intelligent rats can actually detect landmines and tuberculosis. So Apropos, based on core values of quality, innovation, diversity, social transformation, and that includes also developing skills and creating jobs, of course, improving socioeconomic environmental conditions, releasing land for development, and of course combating public health issues. And by the way, don't worry, they treat their rat friends very, very well, like you would treat your pets. I saw a couple of times. So this is one example, and the other one is from Bhutan, and this is the Loden Foundation, where I'm a proud volunteer at. So the Loden Foundation was one of the first registered charities in this country, and they actually aiming to promote education and small entrepreneurship, small businesses. So the interesting thing about the Loden Entrepreneurship Program is that they actually select the businesses according to the actually, they want to select the businesses which are responsible and sustainable and driven by what they call the bodhisattva ideals, altruism, visionarism. So, in fact, if you look at the small businesses supported by Loden, they are striving actually to go beyond the current economic system, and they're trying to already, sometimes not even knowing what they do, the GNH values and Buddhist values into their operations. So, in conclusion, I would say that GNH implies a new business culture where profit and growth are not final ends, but only elements of a broader set of material and non-material goals. Similarly, cost-benefit calculations are not the only means by which to make managerial decisions, but are integrated into a more comprehensive scheme of wisdom-based management. Thank you very much.